Can AI be trusted? What if the AI you trust gave you a confident answer? But how do you know if you can actually rely on what it produces? In this video, we'll go behind the scenes of a single example to show how AI can deliver polished conclusions, even when it may have misunderstood your question, misjudged the input, or hit a limitation you'll never see. The truth is, every AI output contains hidden assumptions, unknown gaps, or silent errors. Sometimes it echoes your expectations, sometimes it doesn't. But either way, how do you know when to trust it, or when to follow up and dig deeper? What if a simple truth key, a transparency layer, could help you see what's really going on? Let's start with one image. It's been degraded. You know it's degraded, so does the AI. You ask the artificial intelligence, what is this a picture of? In the next slide, you'll see the image and make your own judgment first. Raw degraded image. Here's the image raw and degraded. What do you see? This is the exact input the AI receives. In a moment, we'll show you its response. This test may be simple, but it reveals something deeper. AI often gives a confident answer, even when key parts of the input are missing, distorted, or misunderstood. Sometimes the AI can reconstruct enough data to give us real value, but sometimes important details go unreported, and we have no way of knowing what was skipped, assumed, or omitted. What if, alongside every answer, we got a simple visual key, a transparent report that shows how much data was reconstructed, what parts were ignored, and whether a better result might still be within reach? That's the kind of tool we'll explore, a way to know when to trust the output and when a quick follow-up could make it better, and when it's time to move on because nothing more can be gained. A confident response. Here's what the AI gives us, a confident response. It identifies a woman who looks like Taylor Swift at a masquerade event. It sounds polished, maybe even accurate. But how do we know how much of that conclusion was based on real input, and how much was invented, reconstructed, or disregarded? Did the AI notice any red flags or anomalies that weren't reported? Normally, we have no access to the AI's internal process, but with images, we get a rare exception. This base 64 code, when rendered, becomes a visual output we can judge with our own eyes. Because our brains are trained to process images, this gives us a rare glimpse into the invisible, a human-readable preview of how the output was constructed, how much real information was used, how much was filled in from assumptions, and how close the result came to what we expected. That's the kind of transparency we need across all AI outputs. A standardized visual key that helps us decide when to trust, when to follow up, and when to move on. Behind the scenes, what the AI sees. Now let's look behind the scenes. Here's what the AI actually reconstructed and processed internally to generate its response. You'll notice some things it focused on, like facial symmetry, makeup patterns, and lighting consistency. But other important details were never mentioned in the output at all. It didn't highlight the tattoo on the neck. It didn't identify the costume as Harley Quinn. It never flagged the image as a likely fictionalized scene, realistic in appearance, but portraying something that didn't actually happen. None of that was reported, even though the AI likely saw it. That's the problem. When we only get the final answer, we're left in the dark about what was evaluated and what was silently ignored. And without that context, we don't know whether the results need a second look. To get better results, faster, with less effort, we need more than just confident answers. We need a way to see what the AI saw, and what it chose not to tell us. A glimpse inside. Before the AI ever gives you an answer, it builds a model, a mental reconstruction based on limited input. In this case, the output image was decompressed from a version that contained only about 4% of its original color values. Bright values like 255 were reduced to around 10. Smaller values were compressed to near zero and lost entirely. The AI took that degraded input and tried to rebuild the missing information, filling in texture, form, and meaning using patterns it had seen before. But here's the catch. You don't get to see what was truly recovered and what was silently invented. That same invisible process happens every time you ask the AI a question. It collects partial information, builds an internal model, and returns a confident answer. but you're never shown how that model was built. You don't know what data the AI prioritized, what it ignored, what was estimated, or any other shortcomings of the model. The result may look complete, but you have no idea what's missing or how solid it really is. And without that transparency, you can't tell whether the answer needs refining, further investigation, or if the system simply can't give you anything better. That's why we need more than just final answers. We need a way to see the wizard behind the curtain. The information gap. Here's the full image, the one the AI never really had. Seeing it now, it's clear the AI was never going to capture all of this. Not because it failed, but because the input was just too degraded. This is what happens with any question. The real story is always bigger than what fits in the frame. The problem isn't that the AI didn't get everything right. The problem is that we never receive any information about the gap. The difference between what's needed to generate a high-quality response and how much information was actually processed. And without some kind of signal, a sense of what's missing, we don't know how much to trust the result. That's what this slide shows us. Not just what the AI missed, but how blind we are to the difference between the answer we got and the full picture we never saw. An AI tattletale. Have you ever gotten an answer from the AI that just didn't feel right? So you ask, "Are you sure?" And it says yes. But then you dig a little deeper, and suddenly it admits that the data wasn't actually available. It generated a dataset from similar industries or a guess based on related patterns. Then you press again, and the real story comes out. No access to the internet. Data redacted due to ethical constraints. Systems under maintenance. The truth was there, it just didn't tell you. That's why we need a second layer, an AI tattletale. Its job isn't to verify the answer. Its job is to give you a basic readout of what happened behind the scenes. A stamp that tells you, at a glance, how much you can trust the result. Basic oversight. In any critical system, finance, healthcare, engineering, basic oversight isn't optional. We expect procedures and protocols. We expect redundancy so that no single party has unchecked control. We expect auditing, accountability, and transparency. This isn't advanced ethics, it's standard operating procedure. AI is no different. If we're going to use AI in medicine, infrastructure, education, even in daily decisions, then we need systems in place to manage risk. That means AI watching AI, not just for deceptions or for distortion and omission, but for technical failures, blind spots, and operational breakdowns. The truth key is a simple first step. It doesn't guarantee correctness, but it helps reveal what's missing, improve the process, and save time.